We are live. Good evening, everyone. My name is Will Baptiste, and I am your emotional health coach. I am the founder of Will to Rise. I am a coach, I'm an author, and I'm also a speaker. I coach single dads and career husbands to get unstuck from the emotional suppression, which I call emotional constipation. And I'm also an author of Will to Rise. It's now available on Amazon, The Will to Rise, How to Persevere in the Face of Adversity. And I'm also a speaker. And may I add, international speaker. I've spoken virtual stages and also in person. And I do have a group coaching that's going to start as of 2024. And also, I have one on one coaching if you feel led or if you are ready to take your emotional intelligence to the next level. Please feel free to reach out to me. And as you know, we are here every Sunday night. I was going to say 7 o'clock, but today we made an exception for you, and we are here at 4:30. So we're gonna work on that to find the sweet spot. So these are different things that we are trying to see where, when that we have the most amount of views, most amount of audiences. Now we're not doing it for audience and views, but we are doing it to make sure that we are impacting the most amount of people. Because I do believe in the three I's: influence, impact, and yes, income. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege and the honor to have once again back with us all the way from Toronto. I can't believe that I'm saying that because I'm in Montreal. Yeah, there's a rivalry between Montreal and Toronto. But anyway, we're not gonna get into that right now. But I have the privilege and the honor to have met Nadia in Toronto last time that we were in an event. And here she is, I think for the third time or the second time now. I lost count. She is back with us tonight to speak about the seventh stage of, excuse me, of trauma bonding. So, Nadia, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and throw the mic back to you all the way. Oh, no, this way, all the way through. There we go. In Toronto.
I
Back
caught.
to you. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. So, hello, everyone. Good evening. As Will said, I am Nadia, also known as Self Love Diva, and I help empaths love themselves, reclaim self love, set boundaries in their relationships, raise their standards, demand better treatment so they can live authentically and unapologetically. There are so many people that are at the mercy of their coping mechanisms in within their relationships, and we're going to really dive deep because one of the issues that people have a lot of times are trauma bonds, and we don't even know they're a trauma bond if we're living unconsciously. So let's get started. What do you say, Will?
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I've been looking forward to this conversation for for a week now since the last time we spoke about it and we decided. And the great thing about this is whenever I come up with a topic or Nadia come up with a topic, we talk about it, make sure that we align, and there we are. So we've been working very hard for you to bring this to you today, and I hope you do appreciate it. And I know you appreciate it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't listen to it. But we do want to be engaged with you, whether you are listening to it live or we listen to it in replay. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, and anything in between. We want to have constructive criticism. Let us know if it's all right, if it's my hairdo. I don't care. Let me know because I want to look good, not only for you, but also I want to look good for myself. No, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. The 7 stages of trauma bonding. Have you ever heard of them? Do you know about them? And how? And what I want you to do, I want to invite you to assess your life, your relationships, whether current relationship or past relationship, to say, you know what? I've had this in my life before. And so basically, what we want to do, we want to bring awareness to this conversation, but we want to have organic conversation, great conversation. This is just going to be me and Nadia having a conversation. If you want to be part of the conversation, by all means, please do so. We've got Igor that's listening to us from LinkedIn. So let's get into it. So, 7 stages of trauma bonding. It is, and it's not just in a relationship, romantic. It's not just in a romantic relationship. It could be in any relationship. Now, here's what it says. In the 7 proposed stages of trauma bonding, often they begin as seemingly excellent relationships before gradually progressing, turning into an abusive dynamic. This progression is part of the reason this bond can profoundly impact a victim's worldview, perception of reality, and their relationship with themselves. Now, let's speak about now, this is not a this is not an order of importance, but it's just happened to be the first one is love bombing. Now, I have to admit, when I was young and immature, I used to do that all the time because I thought that that's the only way this girl is gonna be with me if I love bomb her. But I don't think she knew what love bomb was either, because if she did, she probably would have rebuked me. And here's the thing, here's what I find out, Nadia, about that. It's because while this dynamic typically occurs between a perpetrator and a victim of abuse, so you can be the perpetrator or the victim of abuse. Now, let's have a candid conversation, and I want us to be honest with the audience here. Love bombing, I've done it, I'm guilty of it, and I don't want to do it again. And the thing is so what I found out, Nadia, is there is a thin line, huh? Between just a healthy, loving someone and love bombing. What have you found out um in your dating life, in your past dating life, or maybe current dating life? What have you noticed about love bombing? And have you been a victim of that? Or have you been the one love bomb a man? Let's keep it a buck now.
All right. So, oh my God, I love this topic so much. And thank you for sharing vulnerably about what, your patterns and that you've done that. I can honestly say I've had a lot of friends that have been love bombed. And guys, for the audience here, I want to tell you what that is. You might not even know. So you might wonder, like, why is this person coming all hot and heavy with me in the beginning? Saying all these nice things to me, complimenting me, saying things like, oh, I wish I was there with you, even before you develop that bond. And you think, wow, this person is too good to be true. Like they're always, they're acknowledging me. They're, showing up for me. They're complimenting me. It could be a friend. I've experienced love bombing with a friend, and I've also experienced maybe like a week or two in my dating life, but I'm very intuitive. And so I shut that shit down, yo, real fast. So, I mean, I've heard of people being love bombed for months. That's never happened to me. I see it. I recognize it. I'm all into authenticity. So when someone's coming on way too strong for the time, I'm just like, legit, what's happening here? Right? So, yeah, so that's been my experience, but like I said, it can happen with friends or in a relationship. So if you feel like it's too good to be true, just be conscious. I mean, you don't have to be all like so worried about like this person is going to sabotage me. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're grounded within yourself, it doesn't matter what they're doing to you, because you don't have to be afraid of getting hurt if you're grounded and you can detach easily, right?
Well, yes, but you got to know yourself, and you got to see. Here's the thing: you got to know what love bomb is. In order for you to recognize something, you got to know what it is. Because if you don't know what to look for, it could be right on your face, which it has been. I've been on the receiving end, and I've been the one who done it. I didn't know. I didn't know about love bombing. I thought it was just, you love the girl, and you just gotta, yeah, you just gotta show her, all your cards, and just if she doesn't text you within 2 minutes, you start panicking and you tell her, "Oh my God, you're the love of my life. I've never been." Oh my God, I sound so pathetic.
Let me
I
ask you
met this girl.
Let me ask you a question. So Will, you're saying that you did that, right? But then when
Yes.
he showed interest in you, did you back off?
You crazy? No, I didn't back off.
Okay, well then that's not love bombing, right?
But
Because
but I didn't. But I didn't know. But it was that doesn't mean it was healthy. I didn't know it was love bombing. I thought that it was love. But it turned out to be at the end it was unhealthy. So it was love bombing.
mm,
Because when I didn't reciprocate that, oh, when I didn't reciprocate that, and all of a sudden, with that person, all of a sudden they felt like, okay, well, he doesn't love me because he's not showing the same level of
yes. Okay,
intensity.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's the same. Yeah, it's love bombing. Because a lot of times people can, you know, they're chasing a feeling, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you're chasing a feeling, you're going to do all that. And then it's not even something conscious, like you said, you didn't know. It's really subconscious. And I always say this, that people don't mean to be assholes. Like they just do things because they're unconscious. And it's a result of, it's rooted in a lack of self-love, a lack of self-confidence, fear, all of that stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely, and especially if you're near. In my case, and I'm gonna be honest here. I don't know, but I wasn't raised with the love, like a child's supposed to get, right? So when you get that, all of a sudden it's like, and that's the reason why I made sure that I don't do it too much to my daughter, but I give her a standard of what love's supposed to be like. So that way, when this young man come out of nowhere, say to her, he loves her, and you're like, you know what? I've heard it from my daddy before. My daddy taught me the healthy way to be loved. So for me, it was like, my gosh, finally somebody see me. Finally somebody loves me. Somebody care about me, right? Showing compassion, showing empathy and sympathy. I never had that. So for me, it was like, my God, I mean, I am the king, but not knowing that it's gonna turn out to be very unhealthy. Now, before I let you get to the second one, I see Angel Conway said detaching may not be easy. However, you have to make sure you do it in a healthy way. Absolutely. It has to be done in a healthy way. And we have also, oh, now we have Marcia that says, what's the clinical definition of love bombing? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead and take care of that, Nadia.
Okay. I never, to be honest with you, I never looked up the clinical definition of love bombing per se. You can look it up while I'm talking here if you'd like, but love bombing is it's very simple, right? It's that the person is really like showering you with all this premature love, and they're saying all these things to you that are not really based on reality. It's based on more of like a facade and with an intention, and the intention is to chase that feeling, to really reel you in. And then it's like when you are reeled in, they kind of like take that back like a notch, right? Because the person who's love bombing is like, whoa, like back off a little, like I'm not ready for this, you know what I mean?
Right,
At least
right.
then they start breadcrumbing you, where it's like, right? That's a part of it too. It's like, oh my God, I've never felt this way before. You're the best thing since sliced bread. I wish you were here with me. When I've been told that, I'm like, yo, like, why are you saying like you wish you were here with me? Like, I haven't even met you, dude, you know? And just like a lot of stuff like that, it's like, it's all the things. Think about it this way, right? It's all the things that you want to hear, but you're hearing it way too early. And your intuition, you might think, oh my God, this is what I was waiting for. Like, this is my Prince Charming. Oh my God, I finally, like, it's too good to be true. Sometimes it is too good to be true. Okay. You don't have to like panic. You don't have to press the panic button. Okay. You can, especially if you're grounded enough to approach the relationship with a little bit of like ease and just like going along with it, but keeping your eyes peeled. Okay. And not, drowning into these feelings. I know it's like women, especially, they get so wrapped up in their relationships, like they legit dump their girlfriends for it. And they're like so consumed with their guy, and then like it blows up in their face. But sometimes people are love bombed for months, like literally, because they're not conscious, they're not aware, they're not awake, they're not connected to their intuition. And I'll say this too, a lot of times people are like, oh my God, I'm so scared, like what if he's doing this to me and whatever, right? They're approaching the relationship with fear, from fear. But we have to understand one thing, that we like attracts like. So not that you're a love bomber if you attract a love bomber, but it's what your soul needs to grow. It's our soul, our subconscious mind, that draws experiences to us in a way, as a way of evolving.
Mm.
It's really important to know.
Right. And also love bombing and the clinical with a clinical definition is actually is a psychological and an emotional abuse. It
Mm.
is an abuse, believe it or not. And that is because it's disguised as an excessive flattery, over the top, gift giving, and needing or jealous behavior. So if somebody's love bombing you, I would say kind of put the brake, and if it continues, then you might want to, because you don't want to be at the very beginning of a relationship being abused and disguised and being masked as an excessive flattery, over the top gift giving. So at some point, because you can only give so much, right? At some point, that person's going to run out. So you don't want that. So all of that to say, love bombing is a get, get out, get
Not
out. So
healthy.
what else? Go ahead and yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely not healthy. And trust your just discern. I think somebody's saying it here. I'm looking at my phone because I can see some people are commenting there, but
Right.
somebody said something about discernment, and that's very true. Discerning is very important, becoming conscious and just trusting your intuition. You can still be positive and you can still give the person the benefit of the doubt, but it's very important to be grounded in yourself. Grounding is so, so important. Asking yourself the right questions. Like, why do I want to be in a relationship?
Mm,
Ask yourself why you want to be in a relationship. Okay. That might help you not attract a love bomber,
right.
right?
Mm.
Because if you, I was married for 15 years, okay? And I married my husband from a place of trauma. It wasn't from a place of empowerment. And I had limiting beliefs about myself. I thought I wasn't good enough. I had to settle. I needed security. And the only way I could get it is with a man. I was too scared to do it on my own. And you know what they say is that if you have an option, there's a fork in the road, take the easy way out or the hard way out. Take the harder way. It ends up being the easier way. So my intentions were all wrong. I wanted a do-over because I came from a lot of trauma in my immediate family. And I was like, I'm going to have a do-over. And yeah, it didn't quite work out that way. So always ask yourself why. Why do I want to get married? Why do I want to be in a relationship? Why do I want to have children? But that's veering off to something else. Trust and dependency is the second stage of love bombing. And, they want to create that level of trust and dependency in you, because think about it. If they're chasing that feeling and they're reeling you in and you feel so good, you're getting all this the serotonin release, the oxytocin, all those feel good hormones, the dopamine, right? And then they feel in control, they feel powerful, whether subconsciously or consciously, and then they back off, they give you breadcrumbs. But then you've already, if you're coming at this from a place of trauma, you're excited about it because maybe you have had to work for your love as a child. Even if you had great parents, what if your parents were busy building a business or working and they couldn't pay attention to you? And then you had to work for your love, you had to work for your attention. You're going to energetically attract someone like this so that you can feel these feelings again. And it's your subconscious way of having a do-over to have a different result this time. So you attract that in. But they, you know how they say chemistry? It is chemistry. It's like your chemical reactions happening in your body that says, oh my God, I need to have this person in my life. And you get addicted to the dopamine and the cortisol. The cortisol is the stress relief when they
Mhm.
release, when they back off. And then they give you what you want. You feel the dopamine again, but then they back off again. You feel the stress. You have that push and pull and the addiction to those push and pull feelings. So that's the trust and dependency part.
Absolutely. And what they will do is they will test you. They will test you. And the thing that I have found out is, in my past relationship, which I won't say, the time of the season of my life, because that person totally removed everything that I was doing for myself. Oh, I'll do it for you. And that was to me, that was real. Now, this is from a male perspective here. And you're gonna hear me talk a lot about the thing that, because this one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing is from my past experience. Now, I'm not speaking here from a place of trauma or pain. I'm over that, right? But I definitely want to go take a look back, because that's what we have, a review mirror, right? Take a look back of what you've learned and how you apply it, not only on my life but also in the lives of people that I'm helping. That woman literally say, I'm gonna do everything for you, you don't have to do anything at all. I'm thinking, my God, who sent this woman? Well, guess what? She was trying to make me depend on her to the point where she could get my trust, and she did get my trust. And then what happened? And then the carpet pulled right under me. And I felt like my whole world, literally my whole world come crash down, because for so long, for so many years, I stopped doing things that I used to do when I was a single man. And now she said, I'm taking care of it for you. Now, there is a way that a woman can do it in a healthy way. But when you completely demand, right, that men stop doing those things, that is a way that's going to be, it's going to cripple you. And that's the reason why, you know years later, I found myself like, I feel like I had to relearn how to do all those things for myself again, because for so long somebody else was doing it for me. And that is a very dangerous thing to do, when that person make you trust them, right? Especially, I had trust issues. I still have a little bit, right? I still have a little bit, but I'm learning now, trusting someone, it takes courage. Because there was a point in my life where I was being so naive, and I would trust anyone. As soon as I opened the mouth, I would just trust them. And then I went from naive to cynical. I didn't trust nobody. Nobody. You couldn't tell me anything. I was like St. Thomas. I didn't trust nobody. And then as I start to heal, and I realized I can't live my life like that. And I come to the middle ground to say, okay, I don't want to be naive and I don't want to be cynical. What do I do? Then that's when, I learn from, going to therapy and all that. It takes courage, and knowing that at any given time, that person can, first of all, someone got to gain your trust, right? You can't just trust somebody based on just your words. Now I look at your actions. Your words, okay, that sounds nice. They're tickling my ear, but I'm looking at your action.
I
What
agree.
does your action says?
Actions speak louder than words. And sometimes people's actions, the love bombing, right? And the trust and the dependency, that is their action. So we have to trust our intuition as well, right? Because sometimes people, and we don't have to worry too much about what's, reflecting back at us in the form of experience, as much as we have to manage our own energy, our own frequency, our own intentions, and our own growth, right? Because I'm like you, Will. I used to trust everybody. And, there are some people that you need to earn their trust. I trust you until you give me reason not to. I trust
Mm,
everybody. And even when something sounds a little fishy, I used to always give them the benefit of the doubt. My intuition would right away know it, but then my consciousness would kick in and say, no, you know what? It's cool, they're good, whatever, they have great intentions, but they actually didn't, and I wasn't trusting my intuition. But I needed them to be in my life. Like I had
mm,
a friend love bomb me. Friends can love bomb you too when they want something from you. And they energetically, we're all having conversations and relationships with each other subconsciously. Right? So they can tell if you need something from them. At that
mm,
time, like I don't have a lot of family. I don't have family. So maybe my friends thought that, oh, if I say these things, I'm going to get her feeling that, I totally love her. And I think she was doing it subconsciously. I don't think she was even aware. But I would get these text messages from her always saying, like, oh, you're such an amazing friend. And she would always do that stuff and give me things. She would always give me things and say nice things to me, like you said, gifts, right? But then when she didn't need me anymore, it all stopped,
mm.
right? So you have to be
Right.
careful with that stuff too. But again, it's more about where are you on your own path?
Speaking of give, I wrote a post last time. I says, if hurting you doesn't hurt me, then I don't love you. I was just using you, and I think it was so
Yeah.
powerful because a lot of people are in your life, but also I got to keep in mind that some people are there to teach you a lesson, and some people are there for a reason. So we have to identify who is there for what reason, and that's why. And when it comes to discernment, it's very, very important that we know who is there for what reason and what season in our lives. And speaking of trust, and now once they got your trust, now they start picking apart some of your qualities, right? And identifying them. So what they once love about you as your quality, now they start identifying them as insignificant or problematic. So on one hand, it was all the best quality that you have. Now all of a sudden, it went from your best qualities to insignificant or even problematic. And and I don't mind being criticized. So okay, here's the thing about criticism. Usually the people that is below you, when I say below you, I'm not talking about on a human level, but I'm talking about societal standards. Now I know you're gonna say, oh, this is a programming. Let me be in that matrix for a minute, okay? Allow me to be in the matrix for a minute. But usually people that are going to criticize you are people that I wish they're all where you are. And people that are above you always trying to pull you up. So for me, criticism, I welcome it, but criticism to me is like a stranger. I welcome you, but you're not allowed to take residence. Period. Right? So, you know,
Give us
I'm
an
sure.
example of a criticism.
Give you an example of criticism. Oh my gosh. I've been criticized for being, listen to this, for being too vulnerable. Now I'm a man. Okay. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a man. Okay. And I'm a black man, and I'm a black man from the island. So being vulnerable, it is absolutely foreign to us. At least to me. Let me speak for myself. And for me, as part of my healing, wanted to use my vulnerability because now I've learned that my vulnerability is my superpower. And people that used to love me for that now criticizing me for being too vulnerable. And that wasn't just people. I'm talking about people I was in a relationship with, committed relationship with. Now they found my vulnerability was too much for them. That broke me. That broke my spirit. It broke me as a man. And thank God I'm no longer there. I don't care. But at that particular moment, it really, really crushed me as I'm building up my confidence and using my vulnerability and expressing my emotions. Now I'm being told that I'm too emotional and I'm too vulnerable. What do you want a
That
man to
is
do?
that is like some legit gaslighting, like trying to make you question your sanity when it's the most courageous thing that somebody can do is to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the height of strength. And it's just projection, like if somebody's not comfortable with your vulnerability, all you're doing by being authentically you and living unapologetically is you are weeding out anyone who does not align with your true essence and where you're going. Maybe you were evolving by becoming more vulnerable, and maybe they were not okay with that because they can't be vulnerable and that scares them. That's just projection, right? Perception is just projection. And I love that you can continue to be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Dr. Seuss.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. Yeah, it's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. We got some great conversation, and I
Comments,
want to.
Angel.
Yes, I definitely want to acknowledge a lot of people. Thank you for being here. First of all, let me go ahead back and acknowledge Marcia, Elizabeth Riggs. This beautiful angel have brought me to speak to the ladies ministry about a month ago, and I'm really truly grateful for that. So thank you. We've got Michelle here from LinkedIn. She said I could write a novel on this toxic to triumph. Absolutely. She's been very engaging. Angel has been very engaging in the chat as well. So I really appreciate you guys for it lets us know that you appreciate what we're doing and being engaged with us. Definitely give us encourage us. We always need encouragement, right? Who doesn't need encouragement? So we really appreciate that for you taking the time out of your busy day to listen to us, and hopefully that we're bringing some light to this conversation, and hopefully we're bringing you some knowledge or some new knowledge. And if you already know everything that we'll talk about, then by all means, indulge us, because I think that there is a time in our lives that we're gonna keep hearing things. There's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Because sometimes something that we're saying, you might have heard it already, but it's just gonna hit differently, right? Because it's coming from Will. You've never heard it from Will. You've never heard it from Nadia. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about the was it
Well, one of the things you
oh,
talked about we talked about gaslighting already, right?
no,
Gaslighting.
well, we did, but do you know the story about gaslighting? Do you know how they came up?
The husband adjusted the lights to flicker, and the wife said something's wrong with the lighting, and he said no. What's wrong with you? Like he was questioning her sanity or something, right?
And to get her commit, and
Yeah,
then he did, and I find it very, very sickening. If you don't want to be with a woman or a man for whatever, for whatever, just don't do things. Don't break that person's spirit. For you to do that, that's just a next level of pure evil. Pure evil.
and gaslighting, that is like a very that's a very extreme case, obviously, and that's where the term came from. But people are being gaslit all the time, like,
Mm,
and they don't even know if that they're doing it. Like, so say you say to somebody that, oh, that hurt me when you did that. They might say to you, oh, you're being too sensitive, or oh, don't start that again. Well, I just want to be authentic. Like, what are you talking about? Like authentic connections are so important, right? And
right.
I think that people abuse that when somebody's trying to have an authentic connection with them, they just shut them down because society expects us to suppress our feelings. And I don't like that. I don't buy into that shit. You know that, Will, right? Because the last week that we did this topic, we talked about the connection that Will and I have, and he got upset with a post that I made, and he was so authentic with me, even though I didn't agree with, what he was saying, but I held space for how he felt because first and foremost, I appreciated that he was being authentic with me and sharing how he feels. We don't always have to agree, but we definitely have to hold space for each other's authenticity. And it doesn't matter that somebody's upset with you or angry with you. They're allowed to have their feelings, and we have to allow them to speak and allow them to feel. right? So holding space for people to feel their feelings is extremely important. But people that gaslight other people are not able to do that. I've been gaslit a lot when I just all I wanted was an authentic connection. And I wasn't
Mm,
able to have that because people get it's perception is projection. They're not okay with that. And I'll tell you where this comes from as a hypnotherapist. For generations, we were taught to suppress our feelings. Like when you were crying when you were a kid, what did your parents tell you? Oh, don't cry. Here's a lollipop. Like they were not comfortable holding space for our feelings. Like what parents wants their kids to be sad, right? But
mm.
feelings, emotions are our messengers. So why are we so quick to, I want to make you feel better? You know, how many friends do you have where you tell them something and instead of holding space for you, they want to solve your problems, they want you to feel better, or they tell you you're okay, you're good, you're okay, suck it up, buttercup. No, I don't want that. I want to feel my feelings right now.
Absolutely.
It's toxic positivity. It's an emotional bypassing, and I don't buy into that shit.
And what about the other aspect of the manipulation? And I think, and man, I think children are the most manipulative creatures that exist because they learn at a very young age. They learn at a very young age how to manipulate their parents and putting their parents, an opposite on the opposite spectrum. So they will use one parent against the other.
Yeah. Divide and conquer.
I find manipulation sometimes, as an adult, a child, I think almost allowed to manipulate because that's what they know. But as an adult, I don't think we should manipulate our way into anything because if we do, then you know what? This is not gonna last long. And I hate people manipulating me. And so and I will notice that and I will call him out on that. I said that's manipulation. If you want something, ask for it, but don't manipulate your way into my circle. Don't manipulate your way into getting something from me, knowing what you're doing the whole time. That's the reason why I rather deal with a thief than with a hypocrite or manipulator. Because I know at least the thief, I know what they do. I know who they are. And if I choose to associate myself with them, then that's my own business. But if you're gonna come as an authentic person, but knowing the whole time behind my back that you're going to manipulate your way into my life, man, I mean, I want to forgive and I want to turn the other cheek, but my goodness, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not with that.
I think a lot
So
like
when
authenticity is really important. And I think that a lot of people in society can't handle authenticity. They say they want real people, real connections until they really act real. I've been told that, I never have to guess anything with you, Nadia, because you're just so real and authentic. But as soon as they don't get what they want from me, they're not okay with that. Like, because I'm also,
yeah, and
I'm,
that's what I was saying earlier. They will use they used to love about you when they no longer need you. Now it becomes problematic,
oh yeah,
and then you create a problem.
they will totally ghost you because they didn't get what they want from you. And like, sorry, I stand my ground, but I love people, but I will still set boundaries, raise my standards, stand my ground. If they don't like it, there's the door. The only people that you lose by being authentically you are the wrong people for you. And when we can be so strong within ourselves, guess what? We're not going to attract a love bomber
Mm,
because like attracts like. You know,
right.
I hear a lot of people saying that, oh, you should really find out what the guy's trauma is, their childhood wounds and trauma, and if they're working on themselves. No, I don't have to worry about that. All I have to know is what is my energy? What is my frequency? What is my mentality? What are my intentions? Right? Because like attracts like. I don't have to look for the right person. I have to be the right person because energy, frequency, vibration rules it all.
Ooh. So rather than, I had a young man this morning that I was talking to. He's part of my mentorship program, and he said he's 23 and he's got he's doing much better than me when I was 23. Though. Now, this is no comparison. I'm just saying, I just want to give him his flowers. And he said, Will, how do I know the right woman for me? Oh my gosh. I'm not such a great question. I say, be the right man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about finding the right woman. Be the right man. And whatever you would like that woman to do for you, start doing it for yourself. Whatever you like for that woman to give you, start giving it to yourself. You don't need to look for the right woman. Being the right man, you're going to attract the right woman. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." I'm like, "You know what? Listen, just keep being you, be authentic, be yourself, and then the woman will see you. It will see you for who you are." I just want to take a minute to kind of go over some of the chat. Hey, guys, thank you very much for being so engaging today. My gosh,
Love
thank you. And I've got Angel say, "Murray, that's deep. I feel you. Though. Thank you for feeling my pain. I appreciate it." Yes, and we have Michelle that says, "That's true. We are responsible for the energy we bring." Oh yeah, Marcia said, "Oh, this is so good. This is so good." I listen. Thank you for appreciating it. Listen, if you guys keep coming, we have no trust to keep coming back and to bring us the good stuff. So, and if you like for us, by the way, if you like for us to talk about a certain topic, please let us know. Put in a comment. You just never know. We might just go ahead and it might already be a part of what we want to talk about. So
we have
nothing
some
off
real
the table.
we have some real treats for you guys with this stuff, really. So we're planning on.
Yes, we've got some great stuff coming up in January in the 2024. So, guys, I want you guys to be part of that, and we're gonna do giveaways. Eh? Listen, we're gonna do giveaways. We're gonna do a lot of great things just to make sure that we encourage, just like you guys encouraging us. We want to encourage you too, coming back and bring other people. Go ahead and tag some people. Share this live.
Yeah.
Share
Oh,
this live. Tag some people in there.
yeah.
And yeah, and we're gonna bring from time to time. We're gonna bring some guests. So you might be, if you keep coming back, one day you might be one of the guests that we bring into our show. So keep coming back, keep sharing, keep engaging, and keep spreading the word. So what do you have for us now?
I was going to say that this is not going to be any surface level stuff. Um,
Nope.
Will and I, like the work that we do goes really, really deep. And it's going to be a lot of demystifying things, myths, things that we think about. And I want to talk about that for a second. I see a lot of content creators posting a lot about, well, like this is how you know you're being love bombed, and this and whatever. And all the comments are talking about how bad this person is, like this is how you escape them, or this is what you do, or like don't put up with them anymore. And so when I post my content and I talk a lot about what did I do to attract this? What was my energy? What was my frequency? What were my childhood wounds and trauma? Was I awake? Was I conscious? What they say is you're victim shaming or you're victim blaming. Hey, I
What?
I do not speak from books, okay, being book smart. Yes, I have my education in psychology, counseling, all that stuff, but most of my experience comes from my personal experiences. And I can say this because I've been through it. If it helped me to get into the driver's seat of my life, then I don't care about sitting here and being the victim, nor do I want to be in victim energy. It does nothing for me to sit here and blame other people for what they did to me. Because at the end of the day, nobody is really trying to be an asshole, even though they come off as one. And yeah, we don't have, like, we can have compassion for them without having to like go overboard. Like, honestly, like we can still be angry about it. But staying in that victim mentality does nothing about me taking control of my life and saying, wait a minute, like what happened? And I'm going to share how this happened for me. I stayed for 15 years because I was so demoralized and I didn't have I had this identity that I was insecure, inadequate. I wasn't worthy. I wasn't enough. The better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Your beliefs, right?
Love it. Say that again, because some people kind of went over the head. Please say that again.
Better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Yes.
It was all rooted in fear, shame, guilt, self-doubt, childhood wounds and trauma, loneliness. I wanted a sense of belonging. It was
Mm,
I want. And then what I was trading my peace, my sanity, my authenticity for a sense of belonging from someone who was really being abusive towards me. Until
right.
one day I was like, yo, what am I literally doing here? The very thing I wanted was the very thing that I wasn't getting. If you're approaching your relationships with, I need, I want, fill me up, then it's going to just like not be a good thing, right? So what happened with me was that when I realized, I didn't leave right away. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get curious about this. This was back in, yeah, this was back in 2009. I took off my wedding ring in 2009 and I didn't leave him until 2013 because I
4 years later,
I
four
was,
years later. So
yeah.
that okay. I know a thing or two about this because I've told you before. For those of you who don't know, I went into a marriage with a high school diploma, and I got out with a PhD. Okay, so okay, I went in with a high school diploma, and I got out with a PhD. Why? Because I have two. No, I don't call them fair marriages anymore because I grew. Because what I went through, I grew through it. Okay, so now can I tell you? Well, I'm telling you, okay. Can I tell you that the moment that you took off your ring was the moment that you were already divorced him mentally, psychologically. You were just legally married, but you had already left him.
But I'll tell
You,
you why. I'll tell you why.
please
I was,
do.
I was actively intentional about growing myself and um, escaping my comfort zone by testing myself. So I sat there and I said, "What is the problem here? How is he treating you?" Okay, he wasn't giving me that approval, acceptance, validation, love, respect, loyalty, support, all that stuff that I deserved. Okay, so I turned that list onto myself and I said, "Hello, are you doing that stuff for yourself?" And I said, the answer was no. Like attracts like. Okay. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing that for myself right here, right now. And he never wanted to get a divorce. Okay. But what I did was I changed and then he vibrated out of my life. It was
Mm.
the best separation that anyone could ever have. Like, can you imagine this person doesn't want to separate with me, doesn't want to divorce me? Suddenly, okay, out of like nowhere, like it was just magic. He agreed and he helped me put all my IKEA furniture together. He helped me move. He helped me like buy my big screen TV. I taught him how to cook and do laundry before I left. I was advising about him about finances. And hey, we got along so well when we were separating. And I did my manifestation work to get this. I told the universe, I need this to be amicable. I need him to agree, and I need this done pronto. And so after I grew and learned and changed and evolved and stepped out of my comfort zone, he energetically vibrated out of my life. And it was an energy thing. You don't have to think about what's likely and what could happen, what can happen. Just believe, go in that direction, and voila, Bob's your uncle.
That is something I did not know about you. I didn't know that you manifested to that level and to the point where you sent him out on his way, but well equipped, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping the next woman will come back and thank you for sending him out. Knowing how to cook and how to do those things.
Well, I get
That
along
is,
with. I go,
this is Hollywood. This is Hollywood. I've never heard of anything like this before.
oh, you have no idea. I have lots of Hollywood stories, and this is nothing compared to those. I got along really well with his second wife, and I don't know his third wife, but anyways, I think Marcia is saying, got to hop on a meeting. Thank you so much. I'm looking at my phone for the messages here.
No problem. Okay, I thought maybe you could see the comments. If you go to the side, your right side of your computer, and you go to comment section, you should be able to see the comments, unless it's because I'm
Oh
the
yeah, because it was on private chat. Now I see comments.
right, so you can
I
see
can
it.
even, I can even join the chat.
Yeah, but it will. Yeah, you can join the chat, but I think it would only let you do it on not all of three platforms. Because me, when I respond on the chat here, it only responded from YouTube and not that. So I'm responding from my phone. But anywho, and Marcia, well, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your evening with us. We do appreciate it. Why don't we go ahead and jump on the next one? What is the next one?
That one's
Nadia.
giving up the control stage. So you no longer know what to believe. If you want to feel the good feelings of this stage, is to give in, and you have to give in to do things their way. That's what you think, because you think about, oh my God, I loved how it was in the beginning. I want to get back to that. What do I need to do so that I can feel those feelings again? Right?
Wow.
Yeah. And so they try to be like a people pleaser, which is, again, empaths are usually people pleasers. And what do they attract? They attract the narcissist who psychologically abuses them. Again, like attracts like. People pleasers always think, oh, I'm just too nice. No, you're manipulating people um, to like you, to accept you, to validate you. So you're manipulating them just like the narcissist is. So if you're going to be a people pleaser and an empath, in that way, just know that this is what you can attract.
Have you found out that people pleaser are the one that play victim, that cry out victim a lot of times? I'm gonna explain to you why. This is what I've seen. They will please everyone, but the
Martyrs.
moment they don't get what they think they deserve, now they're playing the victim. Now, woe me, people don't do anything for me. I do everything for everybody. To me, it's, I am learning. Trust me, I'm learning about being, very compassionate and having empathy and sympathy for people. But my God, what I found out is, so I have a very low tolerance for things like that.
Well,
And
again, it's like attracts like, because narcissists do the same thing. They're always the victim. That's the reality. That's the thing they have in common too. So that's why, you're so right when you told that the young guy that, listen, you don't have to look for the right girl, just be the right man.
just be the right man.
Yeah,
Be
because
the right man.
you're going to energetically attract what is equivalent to you. And when you attract someone in your life, just ask yourself, like, understand that this will tell you where you're at in your journey,
Mm,
right?
right.
I'll tell you, because whatever reflects back at you in the form of experience is where you're at. Who are you around? What are they reflecting back at you? It's like I told you, Will, a couple of weeks ago, that I'm happy that that thing happened with us, because it tells me, oh, you're emotionally intelligent, because you're attracting emotionally intelligent people who want to be vulnerable and talk like adults, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
that to me is a very beautiful thing. Every time something amazing happens with me and other people, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm in a great place.
Absolutely. And there's something profound about what you just said. Who we attract. A lot of times, I've heard, I've heard women say, "Oh, I only have, a bunch of jerks, and all men are this." And my question is, why are you attracted to those people?
Yeah.
Maybe you have to look at yourself. So you have to do the self-assessment and being aware of who you are. Why do I keep attracting? Because not all, you have not been with all men, and you don't, and hoping you have not been with all men, but keep attracting those men. That means there's something about you that draw these men to you, or that you are drawn to them, to, and I think we have to take a deeper look inwards and do the work, and just to make sure that we don't keep attracting those people. And if we look at all the people that they've been with, what's the one common denominator? It's them. But
Yeah.
they don't want to look at themselves.
Oh,
Why?
yeah, because
Because if they do, then they'll have to change.
the pain of staying the same does not outweigh the pain of change. The pain of change is too hard for them. So ignorance is bliss until it's not.
This is bliss.
I
Yes.
had to ask myself when I reached my rock bottom back in 2009, like, what is literally happening here? I'm the common denominator. And then I
Right.
realized I was being a doormat. I was afraid. I was insecure. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I felt inadequate. Of course, I'm going to have all these things reflecting back at me in the form of experience. Sitting there and blaming men for being jerks, I hear that all the time. And then when you try to, bring out the truth, people say
Mm-hmm.
you're victim shaming, you're victim blaming, they're just jerks. They're looking at things in a very 3D reality kind of way,
Right.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, and following up to what we just talked about, giving up, it's about also you get lost, you lose yourself, and
absolutely.
I've had that happen. And at some point, I didn't even recognize who I was. And here's the thing that I absolutely want to make sure that is anchor, and that is my wants and needs, negotiables and non-negotiables. morals and values. Because I think if you have to know that, because by knowing that, that means you know your identity, and I don't need somebody to give me, because I was born with an identity that they were giving, that they gave me, but I had to find my own identity. And when you get lost into a relationship or into that person, now you no longer have no values, you no longer have no morals, you no longer have needs and wants, and you no longer have negotiables and non-negotiables. You
No,
become more than just a doormat. Now you open up the door now for that person to do whatever they want, whenever they want, and you have no say so. And guess what? I have been in the receiving end of that. And that's the reason why I don't want men or women to go through that, because it is not a good feeling. You lose yourself to the point where you don't even, no more self care. That's for sure. Because when you lose yourself, there's no more self care. There's no more self love. There is no compassion to yourself for yourself. There is no mercy and grace. You don't forgive yourself. So you are non existent. So you really a body. You become a zombie. You're like a body walking around, but with no soul, with no purpose, with no heart. Why? Because you had lost yourself. And the moment that I found myself, and listen, if I have to lose you to find myself, I will do it on a heartbeat, hands down. Because
yeah,
without me being present, and you should, someone who's healthy should not allow someone, hear me well when I say this. Someone who's healthy should not allow someone else to get lost in the relationship. So if I'm in a relationship with a woman and this woman is all about me and all about the relationship, that's, to me, it's a red flag. And
yeah.
you know me about red flags, so I hate red flags. I look for yellow signs.
That is so annoying. I see that with women all the time. They totally like overlook their friends. They dump their friends. They're so consumed with their relationship because they're coming at the relationship with this neediness that I'm trying
Mm,
to fill a void and stuff like that. And they totally lose their balance in their life because they just want this person to like be their everything. And we've been conditioned like, okay, your other half, like, what is that? You're supposed to, and doing 50-50. No, you're supposed to be doing 100%. You're 100%. They're doing their 100%. You are a whole being. And one of the things that I wanted to address here is that people are always talking about the causes of narcissistic abuse, narcissism, and they always say things like they've had a bad relationship with their mother. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Now, men especially, right? And that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of reasons why a person can be a narcissist, okay? And that could be even their past life. And this doesn't align with everybody's beliefs, but I do believe that there's so much more there. It's their neurology, it's their brain. Like, not everything's about like, the childhood wounds and trauma, and also about you know, what's it called, genes and stuff like that, because there's something called epigenetics,
Right, right.
right? And that is huge. So there's a lot of reasons why things happen the way they are, the way they do, and it's no excuse. Being conscious, like, you can have the worst upbringing with the worst parents, and you're conscious. I had a shitty childhood, and I was very conscious about doing things very differently.
Hmm.
You have a choice. So it's not just about this or that. There's no absolutes, no black and white, you know?
Absolutely. Um, I've got a little problem with this word narcissist, because I find people throw that around a lot. Because narcissistic, actually, you have to be, at least from what I've learned, you have to be diagnosed with that. Now, you can have traits, because a
Yeah.
lot of us, all of us, have traits of narcissism. But
Yes.
I find it so easy that we throw this word out. Oh, he's a narcissist. She's a narcissist. I'm having a little problem with that. That's just me, because I
No, I
find,
agree with you. I mean, I think that we do use it, we throw it around a lot, and it's a lot
right,
of undiagnosed narcissism, but I think it's true. We have to be careful because it's at the end of the day, it's a label, right? It's a label,
right,
and not everybody really has it because we all have narcissistic traits,
absolutely.
but I'm talking about really abusive narcissists that there's no question. you
Yeah,
know?
right, exactly. Just like I said, someone who's still every once in a while, well, or have stolen before, is not a thief. Now, someone who's habitual, that's what they do. That's the way I look at it. So it's just we all have this uh inherently we have it in us. It's a gene that's dormant. Just like everybody has a gene of cancer, everybody has that inside of them, but it's dormant. But at any given moment, once we start feeding that monster, right? Once we start feeding that monster, either with our environment, what we put in our ears, what we'll watch, people we're hanging around with, then that's when we start feeding that monster, and all of a sudden it takes over our lives and it become our master. So I just wanted to point that out because unfortunately, most of the times I hear women that throw this word around. Oh, he's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. I'm like, okay, well, maybe you were too. I don't know, but I'm just trying, very careful. I mean, that's just for me. I can't speak for everyone, but that's just for me. I find it too easy to kind of throw this word around without really knowing exactly what was happening because we weren't there. And the last thing we want to talk about is the addiction to the cycle, meaning that this person is gonna have done all these things, and they'll cool down and they will apologize, and then you let him, or let her, and then they start all over again, and then they apologize. They say they're going to change, and then they start all over again. So you become addicted to this for the life of me, and I feel bad for people like this, right? And I think I'm not blaming the person on the receiving end, but I am saying is that person, could that be an enabler? Would
Oh,
you agree that person
absolutely.
is an enabler? Because if you allow that to happen, knowing they've done it two, three, four, 5 times, because something that happens once is an incident, right? Two is a coincidence, but three, it's a habit. And you need to run for your life. And if you have any type of level of emotional intelligence, if you have any type of love, any amount of love for yourself, you should understand that this person is never going to change, because as long as you enable that person to continue in that cycle, you're not helping yourself, neither are you helping that person. What do you say?
Absolutely. And that's why I say that relationships are codependent and that we
Mm,
cannot sit there in victim mentality. We have to look at ourselves. And whenever something happens to us that we don't like, we're not happy with, a trigger of an emotion, we need to turn that around on ourselves and say, what is going on here? Become conscious and become curious, and take the reins back, take control of your life, get into the driver's seat of your life, and understand that if you're going to enable them, they're going to continue to do the same thing. I think there's that level of hope. And it's not only about that, it's about ourselves. Ourselves are addicted to familiar feelings. So if I always felt like I had to work for my love, right? I might always want to be with that person because my body, my cells want it, even though consciously, cognitively, I don't want it, I don't like it. That's where we have that disconnect, that push and pull. It's because like
mhm.
your cells want it, but your mind, your brain doesn't want it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I've got Joy here. This guy, the Joy is the he's a friend of mine, and he's being so funny. He said, "I was traumatized from the day I was born. When I came out of the birth canal, doctor slapped me, so slap him."
That's
You know
hilarious.
what? As we're winding down, I needed this to laugh. I mean, Joe, thank you for your sense of humor. This is good. I needed that. What is a final words? What is a final thought? Um, if we can wrap this up, in a sentence or two, what would you say the trauma bonding? First of all, how is it impacting us, right? Because we have to be aware of who we are, right? Has impacting us, and what can we do to avoid that? And what are the benefits of knowing what the different trauma bondings are?
I think knowledge is power, and having the awareness is what really it doesn't the insight doesn't create the transformation. The insight is just kind of the portal to empower yourself. But what are you
Right.
What are you going to do about it? It's deep work. It's retraining yourselves, reprogramming your subconscious mind, changing your habits, changing your identity, changing what
Mm,
you do, and understand that you don't have to break up with the person right away. You don't have to, um, don't blame the other person. Don't try to change the other person. Work
right.
work on you, work on yourself, and trust the process. The universe has your back. The universe will bring people in and out of your life based on your own energy and frequency and vibration. And one more thing I'll say is that everything that happens to you, whether it's good or bad, is happening for your highest good.
Mm.
Definitely.
Right. Whether it's good or bad. That's the thing. What we think at the moment is bad, later on we'll find out it was good. And what we think at the moment is good, come find out that it's bad. So it's really about what growth is it bringing, and how are you using that setback as a setup for a comeback. So for me, it's all about that. Absolutely. Uh, Michelle saying not so easy to break because of deep trauma, one step at a time, codependency. That codependency, that might be one of the topic that we bring back, because just like I hit a dependency and codependency. What I'm a favor of interdependency. And that's probably something that we could talk about, because on one hand you might be so independent, right? And you don't allow anybody to do anything for you. Come to find out, you go from one extreme to the next, and you be codependent. It's like somebody got to do everything for you. And I want people to find a way. I mean, I know I'm kind of go off topic here, but because the word has been, I think we've alluded to it a couple of times
Yeah.
about codependency. I
Yeah.
think that's something that we can talk about as well on a live, or just that. But you don't want to be either independent or codependent. You want interdependent. So basically, I thank you for what you're doing for me, but if you're not there, if you're not doing it, I can do it for myself. And I
Yeah.
think it's a healthy way to whatever relationship you're in. You don't want to be independent, especially when it comes to a woman. And I've not hear that all the time. And I'm not picking up on in my sisters, but I hear it mostly from black women. I'm a strong, independent black woman, and they look at it as a flex, because to me what you're saying is there's no room for me. That's what you're saying.
You know what
If
I love
the
though? Oh, I love this because we both have respect for the opposite sex. I respect men, you respect women, but I think sometimes we can argue about this stuff.
Yes, yes, we
I can
can.
tell you, and I can tell you why they do that. Why women say I'm independent, because sometimes men don't show up for us. And so we have to show up for ourselves. So it doesn't there's always another side to.
Why are you with a man that don't show up for you?
Well, maybe they started out like showing up for you and then they didn't after that.
Okay, that's on you. I'm sorry.
No, I
This
know,
man need to
but
be.
it still doesn't matter because if they're
That's
women,
true.
women have had to. This is a different topic, but women have
Right.
learned. Women have had to learn to be their own warriors because men haven't been
But
there.
that is sad.
Well,
That
yeah,
is very sad. And that's why I want to build a new race of men. I want men to understand. And as I was talking to young men today, I say, we were talking about marriage and stuff. And I said, did you know? I asked him, what's the difference between a king, a president, and a husband? I say, king needs a kingdom, and he's going to have to be ruled by certain, by laws and his citizens. And a president, right, is going to need to be voted in, and, have different branches of the government. But I say a husband, a king don't have to don't have to have a queen to be a king. A president don't have to be married, but a husband got to be married, but that's why he's a husband. And that is the highest form of office that a man can uphold. And it's so powerful that it doesn't take a branch of government, it doesn't take citizen, it only takes one person, and that's your wife. It takes one woman to bring your kingdom down. So that's how important it is. And I think for me, and as I was talking to that young man, I said, the woman that you're gonna choose, it's got to be a woman that's going to multiply whatever you give, because a woman is a multiplier. You give her groceries, she gives you
yeah,
food, right? You
right.
give her Siemens, she gives you a child. You give her a home, she gives You give her a house, you turn it into a home, right?
Give her shit,
So,
she's gonna turn that into something too.
oh yeah, and if you give her bullshit, trust me, you're gonna get that tenfold as well. So be careful what you give to a woman because she will give it back to you. So all that to say, it's very important that we we know who we are, right? And show up for ourselves, and whoever we are, we're going to attract the people that are supposed to be in our lives. And Michelle say, "Thank you, Will and Nadia. Yes, I am a codependency coach. It's so prevalent. Absolutely." My last word for today is that love bombing. If you didn't know about it, now you know. And you can't say you don't know now, because now that you know, you cannot unlearn what you already learned. So whatever you do with that, it's on you. We did our part, we did our job, and we you know it's so vast. We could talk about this for hours, but we wanted to kind of bring it within an hour. Just but if you want to, by all means, go ahead and do more research and assess yourself, right? Because it's not just about research, it's about who you are as well. So make sure you listen to yourself, make sure you're aware of who you are, and again, like Nadia saying, you're going to attract who you are. Absolutely. So
I
um,
write
you
about
know,
this stuff as well. I have quite a lot of blogs on this stuff on my website. So yeah,
speaking of your website, why don't you go ahead and end with telling people what you do, because some people will come at the very end. We're not at the beginning. Tell people what to do, what you do, and where they can find you.
okay, I'm a holistic empowerment coach, self love diva here, and I help you reclaim self love. I mostly work with empaths to help them, set boundaries in their relationships, raise their standards for better treatment, live authentically and unapologetically. And that's all rooted in reclaiming self love, which is why I am self love diva. And my website is bravezone.ca, as in bravery, but bravezone.ca. And my Instagram handle is selflovediva.bravezone.
There we go. Absolutely. And of course, I am your favorite brother from another mother, the Haitian sensation, the only one in the nation. I am Will Baptiste, your emotional health coach. I coach single dads and career husbands to help them to get unstuck from emotional suppression, aka emotional constipation. I am the founder of Will to Rise, and listen, everyone has a will and the ability to rise. So therefore, let's rise. Let us all rise together. My website is meetwilltorise.com, and my Instagram is will to rise. You can find me there. Facebook as well. So it's been, as my uncle Les would say, it's been a plum pleasant pleasure. I do not take this lightly. I want to thank you very much. We want to thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for being here tonight. So be on the lookout for our next topic. Again, if you have something that you would like for us to discuss or talk about, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to accommodate. And again, at some point, we will be doing giveaways, and we will be picking one person from the audience who's been engaging with us and bring him on as a guest. On that note, once again, thank you very much, and have yourself a wonderful night. Let's see here. We are ending with a little bit of, music. Bye, everybody.